Hey, what's going on everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So, one thing I wanted to cover is dodge percentage. It's a question I get a lot, and people who are just starting the game, often ask is, how do I figure out how likely someone is to dodge me? So I just want to make a quick guide to go through that. I think this is helpful information for everyone to get a nice refresher, and for those just starting, this is how you figure it out, because it's actually all math based. So yeah, step one is the speed differential. Very easy, very simple. So let's say hypothetically the undead badger, which has a 4 speed, that's this icon right here, is going to attack the nightmare, which has a 6 speed. How it works is the undead badger, you take the nightmare speed of 6, subtract it from the undead badger speed of 4, so that's a difference of 2, and for each difference, it's a 10% chance of the nightmare dodging. So if the undead badger were to attack the nightmare, you would do 6 minus 4 equals 2 times 10% is a 20% chance that the nightmare dodges the undead badger before any modifiers, and we'll get into the modifiers next. If it was reversed and the nightmare was going to attack the undead badger, the nightmare, before any modifiers, would have a 100% chance of hitting the undead badger because it is faster than the undead badger. So that's how it works. Now, undead badger is pretty fast, nightmare is pretty fast, so doesn't seem like 20% chance to dodge. Wow, not that crazy. But let's take obviously don't have any 1-speed monsters here. Let's take the herbalist. If the herbalist were with the herbalist 1 speed was to attack the nightmare with 6 speed, that 6 minus 1 equals 5 times 10%. It would be a 50% chance that the nightmare dodges. And you can see how substantial that is, right? Like every other time, it would be expected that the herbalist would miss the nightmare. Let's get into the modifiers, because there are plenty. We're going to go to Splinter cards for this. We're going to start with flying. So a monster with flying has a plus 25% chance of evading non-flying monsters. So if both monsters have flying, that completely wipes out the chance, the additional 25% evading. So let's go back to Splinterlands and take a look at this. So if the undead badger was going to attack the phantasm, sorry, I've actually never said that monster's name before. You would originally look at their speeds, right? 4 and 4. And say, oh, it's a 0% chance to dodge. But actually, Phantasm has flying, Undead Badger doesn't. So you're going to take the 0% chance to dodge and add 25% to it. So the Phantasm will actually have a 25% chance to dodge the Undead Badger because it's flying and Undead Badger is not. Here, if you look at if the Phantasm was going to attack the Pellicord Deceiver, see if I can find, here's a good example. If the Phantasm was going to attack the Riftwing, right? Both of these monsters have flying, so these flyings cancel each other out. So the 25% increase from the Riftwing doesn't come into effect because this also has flying. They're both flying monsters. So you'd have a situation where the Riftwing's 5 speed subtracted from the Phantasm's 4 speed would mean only a 10% chance that the Riftwing would dodge the Phantasm because the flyings cancel each other out. The other thing to notice is that, let's say the Nightmare was going to attack the Phantasm. So the Nightmare has 6 speed, the Phantasm has 4 speed. You would think, oh, there's a 100% chance the Nightmare hits the Phantasm. But that's not true. How it works is you do the 4 minus the 6, which is -2, but it comes out to 0. You still add the 25% chance to dodge. So actually the Phantasm, even though it's slower than the Nightmare, because it has the flying, still has a 25% chance to dodge the faster monster because Nightmare does not have flying. So that's the first modifier. The second modifier is dodge. Let me find, here's dodge. Dodging also gives you a plus 25% chance to dodge melee and ranged attacks. A dodge, the difference is it doesn't have the same situation as a flying monster versus a flying monster. If both monsters have dodge, it's still a plus 25% chance to evade with the dodge. I'm trying to think of monsters I have with dodge. Actually, perfect situation. Let's click on dodge, pull some of these up. Tenyi Striker, perfect. So I'm going to go to fire, just so you can see, and the Tenyi Striker is right here. So if the Scavo Firebolt is going to attack the Tenyi Striker, 3 speed cancels out to 0, right? So you think 100% chance that Scavo hits it, but because Tenyi has the dodge, he has a 25% chance to dodge the Scavo Firebolt. Is there another dodge monster that I have? Let's see, I don't have any of these. Oh, I do have the Chaos Agent. So if I go to the Chaos Agent has dodge. If the Tenyi Striker was to attack the Chaos Agent, same situation, but it's not like the flying. The Chaos Agent would still get this boosted chance to dodge, even though Tenyi Striker has dodge. So 2 flying monsters attacking each other counteracts the flying. 2 dodge monsters does not counteract the flying, or the dodge, sorry. So that still sticks. The other crazy thing is that you can combine flying and dodge. There aren't a lot of monsters that have that, but there are a few. Let me go back to Splinter cards. Actually, there might only be... Oh no, here's one. Fire Splitter. Flying and dodge. So if a non-flying monster were to attack the leveled up Fire Spitter, I don't have any of these, which is why I'm showing you here. Same thing with Phantom of the Abyss. This is a set in 50% chance to dodge by a non-flying monster. So if, let's say the Twisted Jester right here were to attack the Fire Splitter, they have the same speed, but because this monster doesn't have flying, and this monster has flying and dodge, it would be a 50% chance to dodge, just based on these 2 abilities. Same thing with Phantom of the Abyss. I'm trying to think. Oh, same with Elemental Phoenix. They have both. And you can see how this can get a little crazy, where if the Tenyi Striker with 3 speed tries to attack the Elemental Phoenix, there's the built-in 20% chance in speed differential, right? So the 5 minus the 3 is 20%. You add the flying and the dodge, and all of a sudden it's a 70% chance that the Tenyi Striker is going to miss the Elemental Phoenix. The final modifier we're going to talk about is blind. Blind adds another 15% chance of evading. So there are a few monsters that have blind. One that I use a lot is the Flying Squid. So this is an ability where blind blinds the entire opponent's team. So each team has a 15% miss rate, and a built-in 15% miss rate on top of the speed differential. And it's the same situation as flying, where let's say I've blinded my opponent who has the Kulu Swim Hunter, and I'm trying to attack the Kulu Swim Hunter with their Kulu Swim Hunter is trying to attack my Cruel Cethrapod. You would think from the speed differential, the faster monster has a 100% chance of hitting this Cruel Cethrapod, but because I've blinded the Kulu Swim Hunter, it's going to be a 15% chance that the Kulu Swim Hunter misses my Cethrapod. Now, blind is also stackable with flying and dodge. So if you read this line right here, If you blind an opponent and you have a flying and dodge monster, and the opponent doesn't have a flying monster, that is a built-in 65% chance of evading a melee or ranged attack. So as you combine some of these, whether it be flying, dodge, and some summoners, right, like Lil Deep Swimmer, Lear Deep Swimmer gives you blind, so it blinds your opponents, all of your opponents. There's a monster that gives you flying as well. I forget her name. I don't have her, but it should tell me here. Bright and Bloom gives all of your monsters flying, so that can be really helpful. But you can see as you start stacking these together with sort of either speed buffs through swiftness or slowing your opponent's speed by 1, you can set up situations where you have 100% chance to dodge your opponent. So understanding this is really important because dodges can win you matches, and a lot of times I plan my lineups around being able to dodge my opponent. A couple more things to talk about. So I touched on that you can stack them together, right? You can stack dodge, flying, and blind together. And if the opponent doesn't have flying to cancel out the flying, you'll have a plus 65% chance to dodge on top of the speed differential that may already exist. Couple things to add. Magic can't miss unless a monster has phase, which is this ability right here. There are a few monsters that have phase. Jin Oshanis is one. Ifrit Elder gets phase. Alamo Cameo gets phase. Chaos Agent gets phase. Nightmare gets phase. Phase is really, really powerful because your opponent might play magic assuming they're going to be able to hit, right? So if they put a bunch of slow magics out there and then you do some fast phase monsters, all of a sudden you're dodging attacks they didn't think you were going to be able to dodge. But if the monster doesn't have phase, magic attacks will hit 100% of the time. Doesn't matter if the monster's flying, doesn't matter if the monster's blinded. Magic attacks will hit unless the monster has phase. If it does have phase, all of the previous rules we talked about come into effect. So you see the Nightmare here with 6 speed. If a 1 speed magic monster was to attack the Nightmare with phase, it would have a 50% chance, the 6 minus the 1, of dodging the magic attack. So everything else works the same. So here's a flying monster with phase. If a non-flying 1 speed magic monster were to attack the Pelacor Conjurer, you would do the 5 minus the 1, which is 40%, and then add the 25%, which gets you to a 65% chance to dodge that opponent's 1 speed magic attack. A couple other things to talk about. Snare. So Snare is an ability when a monster with Snare attacks a flying monster, it removes the flying ability. So if a flying monster is snared, it no longer has the flying ability. So it takes away the 25% boost that it would have to dodge non-flying monsters. That's also important in Earthquake because, as you know, in the Earthquake rule set, flying monsters don't take earthquake damage. If they get snared, that flying no longer exists, and they will take the 2 earthquake damage every single turn. The other thing about snare is that monsters with snare cannot miss flying monsters. Okay, so even if the flying monster could have a built-in 100% chance to dodge, it does not matter if that monster has snare. It will always hit a flying monster. Last thing to talk about is True Strike. True Strike is an ability some monsters have that they cannot miss. These monsters will hit 100% of their attacks. You know, you can see there's a few of them. The Byzantine Kitty gives you True Strike, which is one of the reasons why I love the kitty. But there's a few monsters here where you can see like the Gorgolodon gets True Strike, has 1 speed, which is really important because his 1 speed, he would be missing a lot of really fast monsters. With the True Strike, he does not. Finally, there is a gameplay rule set. There's 2 rule sets I want to talk about. The first is Aim True. I was already on it. Which is, in this rule set, melee and rage attacks always hit their target. So you have to be careful in this rule set because if you're trying to set up a dodge team, you're setting up the wrong type of team because you will not be missed with melee and ranged attacks. Magic attacks will still hit. I believe Monsters, I don't know. If monsters with phase, if someone knows, comment below. This would be really helpful. Do monsters with phase still dodge magic attacks in this rule set? I would say no, because this rule set existed before phase, so I think it would sort of go against the intent of the rule set, which is no missing. But I actually don't know. So that's something I need to figure out. But you don't need to worry about being dodged. You could play slower monsters in this rule set, and you shouldn't build a team around dodging in this rule set because you won't be able to dodge. And the last thing I want to talk about is the reverse speed. Reverse speed flips speed. So now monsters with 1 speed are technically the hardest to hit. So all that really does, it's not that hard to understand. A monster with 4 speed attacking a monster with 1 speed would normally have a 100% chance to hit. But now this gets reversed. So a monster with 4 speed attacking a monster with 1 speed, you do the 4 minus the 1 is 3, has a 30% chance of missing. So this just takes the speed equation and flips it completely on its head. So in this rule set, you don't want to play swiftness and speed up your monsters. And you also don't want to play slow and slow down your opponent's monsters, because if you speed yourself up, you're actually hurting yourself. And if you slow the other team's monsters, you're actually doing them a favor. So just to recap really quickly, the general speed differential, you just take the difference in speed and multiply that by 10%. So if a 5 monster, or if a 2 speed monster attacking a 5 speed monster, 5 minus 2 is 3 times 10%, 30% chance that a 5 speed monster will dodge a 2 speed monster. Then you add in the modifiers. Flying is plus 25% unless the monster attacking is flying. Dodge is 25%. Blind is plus 15%. And all of those or any of those can be stacked together. So if you have a situation where your opponent's blinded and you have a flying monster and a dodge monster, that is an additional 65% chance on top of the speed differential to dodge your opponent. Yes, you can be in a situation where your monster has, 11 speed and the other monster has 1 speed, and you have a 100% chance to dodge every single attack that monster throws at you. That can happen. That does happen frequently, specifically in the Enrage rule set. Magic cannot miss unless the monster has the phase ability. Snare, monsters with snare will always hit flying targets, and it removes their flying ability. True Strike, monster with True Strike never miss, does not matter. They can be blinded, you could be flying, you could have dodge. True Strike monsters never miss. And then finally, there's a rule set called Aim True, where monsters do not miss. And then there's a reverse speed rule set, where the entire equation gets flipped on its head, and slower monsters have a chance to dodge higher speed monsters. That about wraps up this video. I hope this was helpful. It's a question a lot of people have, and it's really important to understand and can be a bit complicated with all of the different variables. So I went through it pretty quickly. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. If you learned anything or enjoyed the content, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It'll help me continue growing this channel. I've been so blessed and happy with what it's become so quickly. And I really appreciate all of your early support. All right, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.